You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Hailing frequencies open. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast on BQN. I'm holo photographer Stefan.
And I'm Ambassador Steven.
Hello, Ambassador Steven.
Hello,
what is going on, my friend?
Hi, hello, photographer Stefan. It's spring, or so they say, so that's exciting, I think. Like, there's green things happening, but still snow sometimes, so I don't know. How about you? How are things going with you?
A mosquito happened the other day, so that is our sign that summer is on its way. Just one, though. Just one so far. I didn't kill it, but I was aware of it.
You're a better man than I.
It is very nice out today. I did go on a short walk, and I went on a little hike yesterday, and I'm trying to get out a little bit more just to shake off the winter glum.
Definitely. I stuck into my first hike last weekend, and I'm trying to now, on a weekly basis, get outside. It's nice enough out at least one day a week to be outside, and it sure is time for that sunshine and warmth.
Yeah, you'd look outside here and you would hardly know it snowed a week ago or so. It's ridiculous. It could snow in June around here. You never know. Well, let's get to our episode today. We're going to try something a little bit new. Listeners, Steven has no idea what we're doing, and I hope you enjoy it. This dumb little idea came out of my brain because a lot of us Star Trek fans tend to be fans of other things, right? We like comic books, and we like other movie franchises, and we like a variety of delicious, nerdy things. So, on today's episode, we're going to try out something that we're going to call Slapdash Crew Clash.
Oh boy.
Does that sound good, Steven?
I don't think I can say those words, but I'm excited. It sounds fun.
It took me 4 hours to figure out something that rhymes. But here we are. So, drawing from a few of the other beloved franchises, things like Marvel, Doctor Who, Disney, video games, DC, lots of other stuff. We're going to take our beloved TNG crew members and toss them into a situation in these other universes, or collide these universes together and have a discussion about what might happen. Steven, you look
for listeners
disturbed.
You can't see my face, obviously, but I have a quirky, interested smile that has grown throughout Stefan's description of what we're doing. So I am excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, as I'm looking, it's reading as Steven's going to fire me after we're done with this episode. But before that happens, this is how it works. Listeners, you can't see me, but I am holding up to the camera so Steven can see a wheel with about 8 different franchises on it. And how this is going to work is, Steven, you will select any of our main TNG crew members, even Wesley, because we love Wesley too. You'll pick any one of these guys. I will spin this wheel, and we will land Wesley in a situation from one of these franchises with a specific question. And we'll talk about how Wesley, or whoever the crew member is, would deal with the situation, considering their talents, their interests, their disposition, their history, all that fun stuff, all that good stuff we got in the 7 years of character development for our favorite crew. Does that sound good, Steven?
Okay, let's sounds like fun.
All right, let's beam on into it. I would like you to pick any one of our favorite TNG crew members.
I'm going to start with Commander Riker.
Commander Riker. The wheel is spinning. Let's see what happens with Commander Riker. We have landed Commander Riker in a situation with Disney. Okay? Here's the question, Steven. After many years serving as the Enterprise's first officer, Commander Riker is retiring to a tropical beach community on Risa. Riker must hire a member of the Winnie the Pooh gang to take his job. Who are the top two characters that Riker approaches to interview, and ultimately who gets the job?
Okay.
So you get Steven's thinking here. I'm just going to vamp a little bit. All right. So Commander Riker, our fearless first officer, very loyal, kind of a ladies' man, eventually went on to captain the Titan. He's got to find somebody to replace him on the Enterprise as first officer. So Winnie the Pooh characters. Whose LinkedIn accounts is he gonna scope out to fill his chair?
I think that his top two candidates would be Owl.
Okay, interesting.
And Kanga.
Different vibe. Owl and Kanga. Okay, that's interesting. Owl would be such a different vibe from Riker. Give me your thought process, Steven.
I think that as Riker is at a point where he's leaving his command, he has grown and matured and understands what a leader needs, and recognizing what he might not have that would be valuable in someone else. So Owl has the wisdom, the for those familiar with motivational interviewing, right? You speak with someone in a way that helps them come to their own solution without you giving real advice. You're just sort of facilitating a conversation to help them along. Owl kind of does that when he's teaching. And I think in a commander type role, like he as like sort of chief of staff, that seems like that would be a good skill set. And the flip side of that, Kanga being the sort of strong maternal type, also again thinking as chief of staff, right, the person who's in charge of all the personnel on the ship. I think that nurturing parenting sort of thing that could be applicable and might be something that he sees as more useful than how he did it, or I don't know. So those are my. I mean, this is truly off the top of my head. I had no idea what I'm talking about.
Again, to be clear, listeners, I did not tell Steven a damn thing about these situations. I love it.
Yeah.
So I love that your answer speaks on both counts to Commander Riker evolving as a person and perhaps picking up and becoming more wise from working with Captain Picard and realizing that, I don't know, there's a certain calm and a certain wisdom that should be put in place in that chair. And I like the thought of Owl being there. Kanga was unexpected, but I definitely see the nurturing need for somebody who is in charge of the staff.
Can I say I originally thought Owl and Rabbit, but then I realized Rabbit's kind of a pain in the ass. And
yes,
and
high maintenance.
Riker would recognize that, and I don't think would want that in a replacement. So in terms of the ability to be responsible, Rabbit stood out for me. But when I thought about his personality and how that would work in that role, that's when I went to Kanga.
Yeah, from a practical standpoint, let's say if we're in the TNG era, Captain Picard wants to send himself on a dangerous away mission. Is Rabbit going to be successful at telling Captain Picard, the captain really shouldn't be going on away missions? Or would that be presented a little bit more palatably, if that's a word, by Kanga?
Yeah. I think that assuming growth in Riker as a leader, in the forethought to what his captain might need, I think Owl and Kanga are pretty good.
Ooh, you know what I want to see now? I want to see Owl on the Enterprise just grabbing lunch with Data. I feel like watching that conversation would either be fascinating or give me a headache. I'm here for it.
Could be fun.
All right. So last bit of this question. Kanga interviews for the first officer job, right? Owl interviews for the first officer job. Who does Riker ultimately pick?
I'm going to say Kanga.
Okay.
Because I think we get a sense from the series that Owl is older. So not and the listeners want to be clear, I'm not trying to be ageist here, just trying to think through the experience level they're at. I think Owl would be more likely to be an ambassador for the Federation, or maybe maybe a diplomat of some sort. Whereas Kanga I think has more of the hands-on real world experience that's more pressing to leading, right? Having, being a parent and having that sort of, I'm way overthinking this, but Kanga.
No.
Kanga
That's
gets
what's so
hired.
great about this. That's what's so great about being nerds like us. We love to overthink these fun situations. So yeah, no, Kanga sounds good. I'm here to watch that show. All right. Well, that's the first question, and that's kind of how this whole Slapdash Crew Clash thing's gonna work. Let's move on to our next situation. Steven, I am spinning the wheel, and I am ready for you to give me our next character.
I believe I would like to play for the part of a Dr. Beverly Crusher.
Dr. Beverly Crusher. We love our Dr. Crusher, and the wheel has landed her in the DC universe. Here's the scenario.
Uh-oh.
Bruce Wayne and Dr. Beverly Crusher go on a blind date. Where do they eat? Who pays the check? And do they hit it off? So, to be clear, not Batman. We've got Bruce Wayne.
Right,
so,
right.
Rich guy, works out a lot, superhero, obviously, dead parents, and Dr. Crusher. Who's had to deal with the death of her spouse, so maybe there's some connection there. What do you think?
So what are the questions again?
So the question is, they go on a blind date. Where do they
Right.
eat? Who pays the check? And ultimately, do they hit it off?
Okay. Where do they eat? Some sort of terrace, an outdoor cafe of some sort. I'm seeing a lunch date for them. I think that Dr. Crusher would be guarding of her time, and like a daytime date would be probably the way to go.
She's a responsible mom and a career doctor, right? So
right.
I feel you on that.
So I think he pays because she doesn't have any funds, because the 24th century doesn't have money in that way.
How would you even pay?
Right. So I think Bruce is going to pay, and then
fair.
I think they could hit it off initially. I don't see it as a long-term solution for either of them. Although Bruce Wayne could benefit from dating a doctor because of his alter ego, but for Dr. Crusher, being on the Enterprise, as long as she wants a commission on a starship, that would be a challenging relationship and he's bound to where he's at because of his other duties as assigned, if you will.
Right. The Batman.
So I think they'd have a lovely assignation for the time she's on shore leave on Earth to meet him, but I don't think it would go far. But I think they'd have fun, probably more so than the Green Candle.
I was gonna say, when she gets to the Bat Cave, is she gonna be like, "What kind of candles you got around here?" I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know that they would really hit it off long term. Seems like Batman, would take up all of Bruce Wayne's time at night, right? So he's probably just real busy and Crusher's off hours. I don't really see them making it last. And also, she's assigned to a starship and probably wouldn't ditch, though. Maybe they date in the year that she was at Starfleet Medical and Dr. Pulaski replaced her on the Enterprise. But also, Bruce Wayne does not exist in that timeline. So I think we're done with this rabbit hole, unless you have any other thoughts on pairing up Dr. Crusher and Bruce Wayne.
No other thoughts.
No other thoughts. All right, let's get out of here. Next up, who else you got, Steven?
Let's go with our pal Worf.
Our pal Worf. We did a deep dive on Worf recently. We love that guy even more now. The wheel has spun, and it has landed Worf into the other superhero franchise, the Marvel Universe. First off, are you familiar with the MCU much, Steven?
A reasonable amount.
Enough.
I guess.
Yeah.
Enough.
So here's the question. With the threat from Thanos neutralized, the Avengers are going to take a break for a while, recruiting Worf as their office manager to keep an eye on things. How does Worf spend his time in that role?
Oh, this is perfect.
So it just sounds like you might have some ideas.
All right. Here we go, listeners. Worf as the office manager for the Avengers. I think this is what we officially would call a shit show. I know we haven't sworn a lot on this show until now, but I think that's it's more appropriate than the other phrase I would use, which starts with a C and an F. So I think that Worf would be bored to tears trying to manage an office space. I think that given what the Avengers have done and do, he would just want to be out there with them fighting, defending honor, being out there and protecting others. I think that he would at some point decide this could be the moment where he decides, okay, I can choose violence, or I can choose to learn to focus and center, and maybe this is when he starts his Zen journey as the office manager for the Avengers.
So you're saying,
oh wow,
you're saying he sees the Avengers like doing their superhero thing, lots of violence involved, a lot of action, but he's watching it for maybe the first time or one of the first times from the outside as the office manager, and kind of thinking, maybe there's another path for me, one of a bit more meditation and focus and less violence.
So I think I see it from the perspective of, this is my job now. I have far too much honor to chill and just do my job. So I need to make a choice to go down a different path to be able to be good at my position. And that would lead him into like mindfulness-based stress reduction or something,
Oh my God. Did you just write all of the interstitial content between the last time we see Worf in the TNG movies and DS9 and when we finally see him again?
I think so. You're welcome, listeners.
Okay. I don't know if you guys know this, listeners, but this podcast is actually canon. So everything said here, you can take as fact, and you're welcome.
Disclaimer, that's not true. But
disclaimer, I'm a big fat liar. Moving along to our next universe. Steven, get thinking about your next character.
Counselor Troy, you're up.
Counselor Troy to the bridge, or rather to the interdimensional wormhole? Okay, I've just spun the wheel, Steven. This landed on a universe that I know that you are more familiar with than I am.
Okay.
Doctor Who. So the Doctor Who universe, I am only vaguely, tangentially familiar with. So the question is this. In the Doctor Who universe, I know very little, so I wrote this question, and it probably doesn't make sense. So, Deanna Troi is the next incarnation of the beloved Doctor. Not Marina Sirtis, who plays Troi, but Troi. What direction does that take the show in? Now, disclaimer, one of the very few things I am aware of in the Doctor Who universe is that he switches bodies every couple decades, or every time the show reboots. I don't know. Steven, help me out here.
Okay. So the Doctor regenerates when his form is close to death or something traumatic happens. Really severe. He can regenerate. Now, it comes at the cost of the form he was in. So he changes forms when he regenerates. Now, the purpose for this was when the first Doctor decided to step down, they didn't want the show to end, but they wanted to come up with some canon explanation as to why there's a different actor playing him, which opened up the doors for us to have 50 plus years of Doctor Who, because when something changes, an actor gets another job or decides to leave or whatever happens, they can just write it into the script, time for the Doctor to regenerate for whatever reason. So I think that they've done some really interesting things with that in the last, in sort of the reworking of the show, the last several years that they brought it back. So that said, that's how that works for the show. So Deanna Troy,
can I ask,
go ahead.
Before we get to Troy, so Doctor Who is what kind of being?
He is a Time Lord.
Is this an alien?
Yes. The only physiological way they can tell he's an alien is that he has two hearts, so they can find two distinctive heartbeats. But he's from a planet called Gallifrey, and his ship, the TARDIS,
the phone booth, right?
Right. It's both a time machine and a spaceship. So TARDIS stands for time and relative dimension in space. So his ship is bigger on the inside.
I've seen that.
Get that. So all that said, it would be hard for me to answer your question because he's still the Doctor. He takes on some personality traits that are different in each incarnation, excuse me. In fact, he's in recent times, he's become a woman. And then he's traditionally been
something?
Right, Jodie
Foster.
Whittaker.
Foster.
Oh my God, not Jodie Foster. Jodie Whittaker, you were correct. So now, so Jodie Whittaker was the female actress that played the Doctor. So yeah, so anywho, so I guess I'm going to try to answer this with some of Troy's characteristics, knowing it couldn't actually be Troy as the Doctor, because the Doctor is it's not like a Trill where there's the symbiont and the host.
I was going to say, explain it to me in Star Trek terms.
Yeah. So with Trill, the symbiont is the being that continues, and the host changes, and the symbiont grows with each host. The Doctor is the Doctor. So there's some personality changes. There's some things that change. Like he might have issues with memory. He might not remember certain things. Relationships can change because his personality will change a little bit, but he is the same being, just having changed into this next iteration, having regenerated into a new form. So there's usually some sort of memory loss or memory issue between, but his abilities remain the same roughly. And the one thing that changes is his sonic screwdriver. Every few Doctors, he'll make a new sonic screwdriver, which is his little, it's as handy to him as a tricorder is to Data.
What is his purpose?
What is his purpose? So the Doctor,
Time Lord, to me suggests he protects the timeline, or what?
Somewhat accurate. So the backstory for Doctor Who is that he escaped his planet's destruction by stealing a TARDIS. That's an oversimplification, but that's the essence of it. And he often travels with a companion. So it's someone he's picked up. It's almost always an Earth person. And he travels through time and space, kind of living his life. He believes in humans. That's something that's very apparent and very sort of baked into the plot, is that he believes in humanity. He sees what humans can do, what they can achieve, what we can achieve.
Steven's face just melted away. He is actually a lizard person.
I am
FYI.
not a Gorn.
Great cosplay. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So that's the basic background of the Doctor. He pops in and out of. He's often in London. He's often in the UK. I wonder why that is. But he kind of helps out with things, and has friends throughout time and space, and fixes things. He's a hopeful character.
So how do we bend Deanna Troi into this character?
So I'm going to try to take some of her personality traits and assign them to the Doctor's regenerated form.
Okay. Example? Or
so some versions of the Doctor are very arm's length, hands off, like don't touch me, get away from me. Deanna's an empath. Deanna Troi is an empath and actually sense feelings in others. So I'm going to give that feeling set to him. He's able to actually sense the feelings of others. I think that given his concern for others and being interested in saving things that he deems worth saving, the empath abilities would be very useful to him. I think that, and we'll say her, right? So if the regeneration is into Deanna Troi, we'll assign a female reincarnation, regeneration. Reincarnation is not an accurate term. I should say regeneration. And so she would benefit from the ability to have those empathetic traits as a Beta Z Doctor. I think that she might have a stronger moral code in terms of what she can and can't impact. Right. So I'm trying to think like the Starfleet Federation ties and like the Prom Directive and not interfering in other cultures, whereas the Doctor definitely interferes in cultures. In an effort to make things better, to improve things. But I wonder if the Doctor would be more hesitant in that realm in the iteration of Deanna Troi, excuse me. And the empathy, I think hesitancy to be so directly impactful. I think that she would spend more time working with folks to help them figure out what they need on their own, and then maybe support them in that where needed. So I guess that's
okay.
Those are the character traits of Deanna Troi that I think applying those to the Doctor, I think would be useful. I think that's how the Doctor would use them.
Okay. This is now the longest conversation about Doctor Who I have ever been a part of. So thanks for telling me all of that. And in my brain, that character will be Deanna Troi going forward. I know there are decades of Doctor Who shows, right? And I have no hope of catching up on all of them.
Fair enough.
So with that, let's move along. All right, we've talked about Dr. Crusher. We've talked about Worf, Deanna Troi, Commander Riker. Who do you want to throw into a random non-Star Trek universe situation next, Steven?
Geordi,
okay. What do we like about Geordi?
Everything, except for his
cool
problematic holodeck romances.
He has some questionable behaviors and choices.
That aside, he's pretty amazing.
That aside, lovely guy, nice to androids, very nice to everybody, even though he can't see. So, what has happened to Geordi? Well, I spun the wheel and he landed in the world of video games.
Uh-oh.
I think this is a fairly easy question to answer. Maybe not. So, in the world of video games, who is Geordi's go-to Mario Kart character? That's it. I mean, could this be complicated by the fact that he is, in fact, an engineer? Would that play into his choice in Mario Kart characters? Thinking about his preferences, the way that he operates. What do you think?
I will admit that it's been a while since I played Mario Kart. That said, I remember, I think, most of the characters. I think that Geordi would be Yoshi.
Okay. I actually can draw a line between Geordi and Yoshi on my own here. I have thoughts on that, but I want to see how you got there, Steven.
So Yoshi, like Geordi, has quasi main character energy. They're there, they're present. You see them a lot, but they're rarely the focus.
Okay.
They're both really useful. Right, Geordi is an engineer, can do all these amazing things. He's just fantastic at what he does. And in any version of Mario games, when you have a Yoshi, it's a boost. It's a boon. It's a helpful thing to have Yoshi with you. So I'm assigning his personality from other games to this.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess that's really the gist of it. I think they both are very useful in their own ways. They're both, I think, important, but not, like that sort of quasi main character energy. I guess those are the two
Yeah.
main things that I would point out.
Okay. Yeah, that's sort of similar to what I thought. So my character of choice in Mario Kart is also usually Yoshi. And kind of for the same reasons that I like Jordy a lot, because Yoshi to me seems very well balanced in general and very easy to use on most courses. Jordy, I've always felt, is pretty well balanced, like overall, very approachable, smart, dedicated, good friend, just well rounded. And that's how I've always thought using Yoshi in a Mario Kart game is. Now, in Mario Kart, at least the iterations I know this to be true in, there are heavyweights and lightweights and medium weights. I think Yoshi is technically a lightweight, so he's not like in the middle, but I've still always felt like Yoshi was a good balanced character and just a good overall rounded character to use in Mario Kart.
It's interesting. You mentioned that you often choose him, and I hadn't thought about it from the vantage point of what I usually do when I play the game. I was really trying to go through like a character profile and pick. Yoshi is also who I mostly choose when I'm playing Mario Kart, and for the exact same reasons. So I didn't even think about that till you said that. I'm like, actually, yeah, that's me too. I pick Yoshi for the same reasons.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll pick Toad because I like his annoying voice. But generally, I'm all about Yoshi.
Nice.
Can't go wrong with a dinosaur driving. All right. That's our segment for Jordy. Let's move on to our next universe. Who else you got, Steven?
Let's page a Capitaine Jean-Luc Picard.
Captain Picard to the bridge. We're approaching an anomaly that is going to throw you into a situation in the universe of music. Captain Picard and music. I mean, what do you think of Picard when you think of music? I think of opera.
Absolutely.
I think of him dancing to that Latin like beat when he's in Star Trek Insurrection and feeling young. And of course the flute, right? The Inner Light banger.
Right.
Like I think about that.
I think about him in terms of classical music, opera for sure, instrumental music. Lieder comes to mind, German Lieder, sort of art song type stuff, I think applies to him. And a little bit of the sort of Piper stuff from the Robin Hood episodes.
Oh, okay.
Sort of merry men, medieval instrumentation.
Okay. Fun. Well, where he has landed in this musical universe, Lady Gaga wants Captain Picard to direct her new music video. How does Captain Picard combine Gaga's avant-garde vibe with his own style for the new music video? I have a feeling Captain Picard didn't apply for this job.
If she can do duets with Tony Bennett, she can be directed by Picard.
Great point. How does he approach this?
I think the main thing to keep in mind here is that they're both consummate artists, right? Lady Gaga, yes, she's known for pop and being avant-garde and creative, but she is just a talented musician. She has a very well-trained voice. She can sing multiple genres. I think that Captain Picard, he's often pulled for his diplomatic abilities. He can see the common ground with sort of any situation he's working with. So I think they'd actually work quite well together. In fact, I think he'd be a guest vocal on a track.
Interesting.
I think they would get along so well that she'd say, you know what? I want you in this. And they find some sort of either a spoken prose section or a fun melody or motif they can work into it. I think they're going to get along really well. I think that his experience exploring and coming across new species, new civilizations, and Gaga's sort of avant-garde shock value. Here's what's
She's
going
all
on.
about that strange new anything.
Right. I think it could actually be a really fun partnership.
You know, I do see what you're saying. They are both fiercely dedicated to their craft in their lanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think them being trailblazers or leaders in their own lanes would help them to connect as people if they were to collaborate on directing a music video or something along those lines. I'm thinking of the collaboration in the Jeffries tubes with the Nella Darren character, I believe she was. Do you remember Picard had? Gosh, I don't remember the episode exactly. Listeners, you can yell it at the speaker. I won't hear you. But Picard has a friend that has a rollout keyboard that she plays, and they go and play in the Jeffries tubes because the acoustics are great. Does this ring a bell at all?
It's there is a vague recollection back there.
I'm pretty sure it's Nella Darren. Couldn't tell you the episode, but I can tell you she dies in either that episode or a follow-up one.
Okay.
So we know he's not a stranger to collaborating on music projects. I was just thinking I would love to see the episode where Picard plays the Inner Light theme and Gaga sits there and writes out some lyrics. You know, maybe asks him about his time in that civilization and living that full life. And then she writes out some poetry that they turn into melody with that track. And they have a hit on their hands.
Yes, and how she includes him in her next album is by playing the flute. So she records this song she's written based on the melody that she's put lyrics to. Excuse me, the lyrics that she's written, and then he's the one playing the flute on the track.
Yeah. Why aren't we running Paramount? I mean, we don't have to just have ship shows Paramount. Let's do this. Cowards.
So the leap that was just taken was of like Superman level leaping, right? Like, I mean, whoa.
I thought it made perfect sense. What are you talking about?
I don't disagree. I think it could be fun. I think we should run the world. I think people have a lot more fun.
Actually,
I don't
give us all your money on Patreon.
There we go. Oh no,
we'll get there.
We're sliding, folks. We're sliding.
We're gonna slide into the next universe.
There
Goodbye, Picard. Goodbye, Gaga. Moving on to the next.
Data.
We're gonna go with Data, huh? Our beloved android, always seeking to be more human. What happens to Data? The wheel is spinning, it's spinning, and we're here at Miscellaneous Movies. Data is dropped into the original 1993 Jurassic Park movie. How did he survive? Or did he survive?
I think Data.
I think that
Absolutely,
the bottom line
survives.
Is
And I think he does it by he tries to help folks, but when he recognizes they're just not going to do what makes sense or what is helpful to them, he just gets himself off the island.
Peace.
And not in terms of ditching them, but in terms of, okay, they won't listen to reason. I can't help them facilitate this on their own. I'll take whomever I can with me, but then we're going to go get help and send it back.
He is a floating device, as we found out in Star Trek Insurrection. So if they need to get off that island, he can serve as a flotation device, and they can paddle themselves away from the Velociraptors.
Goodness gracious.
I'm just thinking about, you remember the lawyer scene where the lawyer's on the toilet and the T-Rex comes over and interrupts him very violently?
Yeah.
I'm like, if Data was in that scene, what would happen? What would happen then?
If Data was
I don't see Data like beating up or shooing away a Tyrannosaurus Rex, strong as he is. What does he do?
I see Data
What does he do?
delving into the lab and finding a scientific way to stop the dinosaurs. Whoa. I didn't. Yeah, with his advanced processing abilities, his science background, I retract my former statement. I think he would try to use the lab to find ways to, in some way, stop the dinosaurs. I'm not saying like develop a lethal poison to kill them all, but find some sort of way to subdue them in a way that allows the humans that are there to survive, and then the researchers to kind of figure out where they went wrong. Because I think if Data got there before they were finished with the cloning components, he would have stopped it. He would have stopped it.
Yeah. You know what else he could do?
Go ahead.
I think the Dennis Nedry character hacked the system to turn off all the electric fences, right? And then he put a lock on it. There was that little animation and the sound bite of him going, you didn't say the magic word. And nobody could get back into the system.
Right.
To re-engage the fences or to unlock the breaker room so they could re-engage the fences. Data could crack through that pretty quickly, I would think.
Or bypass it.
Yeah. Back on 1993 computer technology.
My God, that was so long ago.
He could work with, I don't remember her name, Hammond's niece, granddaughter. What was her name? Tim was the boy. Lex?
I don't recall. I do not recall.
Lex. It's been a while. It has been a long time. He could work with her. She seemed pretty smart. But yeah, bottom line, he'd 100% survive Jurassic Park. Even if nobody else did.
Yep.
All right. It's settled. Next.
Well, this leaves us with Wesley.
All right. So we're going to go with Wesley, and that leads us to our final universe, the other Star franchise, Star Wars. Steven, are you a fan of Star Wars?
I am.
Great. 500 people just unsubscribed to us.
Listen.
Do we have 500 people?
We can have multiple franchise appreciations, but we're podcasting
100%.
about Star Trek, right? So our priorities in the right place, but we can discuss others.
Yeah. It's our heart is in Star Trek, but I also love Star Wars. It probably is what got me into science fiction in the first place. And, I would say the competition between the fandoms and those universes is probably a little overstated and a little played up for attention or for clicks or just because people like drama. I think a lot of people are fans of both. At STLV, I know a couple people there that like Star Wars more than Star Trek, but they go just because they love the people that go to Star Trek Las Vegas. Anyway.
I think there's like a camaraderie amongst science fiction fans because you might like this franchise more or that franchise more, but there's something about being a sci-fi geek that is uniting in my experience.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so much fun to be a nerd in sci-fi.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars era or TV show, Steven? Movie? Character?
Interesting. I think that I have not seen all of the series, so I've only seen some of the movie, the television series. The Battle for Endor was a huge favorite of mine when I was a kid.
This is the Ewok movie, one of them?
The Ewok
There
movie.
are two, right? I believe there are two Ewok-based movies, right?
I'm not even sure anymore. I remember the Battle for Endor. And just watching that movie whenever I could get my hands on it. I watched it so many times as a kid. So I think that era partnered with episodes 7, 8, and 9. I liked the sort of future, what's happening in the future, mixed with the mysticism of
the newer
Jedi
trilogy.
And, right. The final trilogy. So I think that's my era.
Yeah, I enjoyed those. I I don't know that I have a favorite era of Star Wars. I do like the prequel trilogy. Sorry, not sorry. Some of us do. I mean, it's kind of terrible in some ways, but I'm a fan of that trilogy. Of course, I like the original trilogy. I like the newer ones too. I watched last year's The Acolyte series. Do you remember this coming out, Steven?
I do.
It's supposed to come out. It was supposed to take place during the High Republic era. I enjoyed it. It's not coming back apparently, but I enjoyed it. I have to watch Andor and Ahsoka. I'm a little behind on my series as well.
Right. So I think we're in actually the same spot.
Yeah.
I saw
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name of it. I watched The Mandalorian. Really enjoyed it.
They have a new movie that they're making a new movie to come out in a year.
Oh, really? That'll be awesome.
Yeah, theatrical release of The Mandalorian.
I've seen a lot of the sort of one-off movies outside of the trilogies, maybe all of the movies, but the newer series, the last couple I have not seen. So,
yeah. Well, Wesley Crusher is about to get thrown in there, and let's see what happened to him. Here's the question. Which character from Star Wars, any film or show of any era, along with Wesley Crusher, would make the best buddy cop movie? Who do we want to see? Wesley Crusher and insert Star Wars character here in a fun buddy cop movie.
I would love to see Wesley Crusher paired up with C-3PO.
So Wesley is a genius. Do they clash? I mean, C-3PO, I don't know that he's a genius or if he's just tragically cerebral. What's your take on this?
I think C-3PO is akin to an android in that he's been programmed with a lot of information.
Yeah.
And some level of ability to grow and adapt to his surroundings. I think that I would love to see the two of them in this type of scenario because it would be fun to watch what rabbit holes they go down because they are both so bright, so capable, and they're gonna be like, oh, we have to like figure out this method for this thing, and then they spend the next 3 days perfecting a new research technique while like the bad guy gets away because they're so like, ooh, science,
right?
So I think it could be comical. I think that would be fun to watch.
Yeah. What do you think a setting would be for these two? I just said buddy cop movie. This could be in the modern era. This could be in the future. It could be a Western buddy cop movie.
I would love to see them. I would love to see them in 1920s Australia.
What the hell?
So there's a series called Miss Fisher Murder Mysteries. And it's a 1920s female detective, and it takes place in Australia. Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. Miss Fisher. It follows Phryne Fisher as a private eye in the 1920s in Australia, but having that background of that sort of fun, free, but there's this high society vibe, and I think that would be a fun setting to toss them into, because the technology at the time wouldn't be able to do all the things they could do, but they'd both be super smart. So I would see them creating new
tinkering
things.
Yeah.
And I figured out a way to discern this blood type from this with a street test, or whatever. But seeing them be fun and creative, but then going down these rabbit holes of, oh, well, if you did this, and then we cut to the scene of like the person on the next ship out of Australia,
Yeah. Do you think they eventually drive each other nuts? And specifically, does their working relationship last longer than Dr. Crusher and Bruce Wayne?
I think it works out if they find a good way to work together, which I think they will. A lot of Wesley's training in the Enterprise is learning how to work with folks and taking, having command responsibility and what have you. I think that their relationship would last way longer than Dr. Crusher and Bruce Wayne, because I think Dr. Crusher and Bruce Wayne just I think they have like a wonderful, life-changing, fiery affair that couldn't last long. Whereas the nerddom of Wesley Crusher and C-3PO, I mean,
it's eternal.
I'm hearing Simon and Garfunkel's old friends playing in my mind.
All right. Well, that can be the end credit song to this confusing experiment we're calling Slapdash Crew Clash. Thank you for taking this journey with us. Let's get out of the Star Wars universe or Australia or wherever the hell we are now. Moving on to our next segment. This is a fun recurring bit we like to call Collector Card Roulette. This is the time when either Steven or I pull a card out of a random pack from the mid-90s, in this case, 1993, Star Trek Skybox Master Series. And this contains cards across any of the series that were in existence then. Of course, there are going to be some Deep Space Nine cards, Next Gen, original series, maybe some original series movies. I don't know that the animated series is anywhere in here, but the segment is this. We pull a random card, not knowing what it is. And if it's not TNG, we talk about how it ties back to TNG. If it is TNG, we just share our thoughts and our memories with the character or object or ship or whatever it is. So with that, Steven, why don't you take it away and see what card we have today?
All right, I am pulling a random card from my pack. And today's card, this actually is funny because it kind of ties into a previous episode in a small way. So, Stefan, I have Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. So the card says it's number 89. It's signed by Bill Schmidt. It's a signature card. This film bridges the worlds of Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation with these prophetic words. This is the final cruise of the Starship Enterprise under my command. This ship and her history will shortly become the care of a new crew. To them and their posterity, we commit our future. They will continue the voyages we have begun and journey to all the undiscovered countries to boldly go where no one has gone before. And then it says, a professional artist for over 20 years, Bill Schmidt is commissioned regularly by clients around the world. And the artwork's fantastic. It's beautiful. It shows Chancellor Gorkon kind of silhouette in the background with the Enterprise in the foreground. It shows a Klingon bird of prey. And then McCoy and Kirk with the translators to their ears. It's a really beautiful card.
Mm.
So listeners, obviously you can't see that, so I'm doing my best to describe
Google it. Tell us who the artist is again, Steven.
The artist is Bill Schmidt, SCHMIDT.
Look up Bill Schmidt and then give us all of your Patreon money. I'm just kidding. I'm actually going to look up this card because I'd like to see it as well. Star Trek 6, huh?
Star Trek 6. So, Stefan, how does this connect to Star Trek The Next Generation?
Ooh, okay. This is where my brain first goes. This can connect to Star Trek The Next Generation because there was a follow-up episode to this that they did in the series Enterprise, where Archer ended up being captured at Ruapenthe. And somewhere in Enterprise, Brent Spiner played an ancestor or a relative of Dr. Soong. So it connects like that. And also, you're right, this does connect to a previous episode of ours where we talked about how Worf's grandfather appeared in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
There we go.
Is that what you were thinking?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, I mean, we actually talked a little bit at length with this connection, so I figured this was the most obvious. I appreciate the effort you've put into connecting it through Enterprise.
I just love, whether it ends up good or bad, I love when episodes connect to each other across series. I don't know if that Enterprise episode was considered by the fans as great, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I think the other connection would be Admiral McCoy. So McCoy is obviously a pretty important character in Star Trek VI, and he's also in Encounter at Farpoint. He's there at the beginning of Star Trek The Next Generation. They have Admiral McCoy walking the ship with Data. So
Right.
I would say we had that. So I'm going to throw that in there as well. The McCoy Enterprise D connection, and then the Star Trek 6 McCoy being a sort of central character in this movie.
And this actually kind of ties into a discussion that we had today on this episode. If you saw Avengers Endgame, where several people died, the closing credits has a similar signature sign-off visual as we got at the end of Star Trek 6. It's all of our heroes kind of riding out into the sunset. It's sci-fi, so people don't necessarily really die or go away forever. But I did always love that ending of Star Trek 6. I thought it was beautiful. That track is gorgeous. It's a nice visual of the Enterprise sailing off into the sun or a star. Yeah, it's probably the sun. I think it's great. It's such a great movie.
I think it's wonderful. In fact, actually, I'm a little bit. I'm considering watching it now after this, meaning later this day. But who knows? We'll see. So yeah, I think those are. I think those are some pretty decent connections, right? So we went via Enterprise, via last movie of TOS to first episode of TNG, and then the Worf grandfather grandson connection. I think those are pretty solid connections.
Nailed it.
They're pretty clever connections. I'll go with that. Listeners can just they're solid.
Nailed it. Don't forget the connection of our own podcast episode. I feel like that sort of links them as well, because we talked about the Worf character and now we're talking about it. Yeah, that's not a stretch at all. All right. I think that was a success. Yeah, you should go and watch that movie. I do feel like that is one of the best Star Trek movies, period. Or maybe I'm biased because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think most folks would agree with you.
Yeah, solid movie.
Incoming transmission.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey and Mitch, self-proclaimed gamers who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for the Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through Star Trek Cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam Aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissy and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissy and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into Beta Canon with Peter, host of the Trek Book Club on Twitter and Bluesky, and his companion Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey and MC. If you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Calvin and Amy, with new 8-week seasons in the spring and fall. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with an LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the T-Bev. And for our patron members, we have the Hive Mind with script readings and roundtable discussion, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. You can keep up with all of these shows by following the network at BQN Podcasts on Instagram and Bluesky. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
We would love to hear what you thought of today's episode and hope you'll join us on our Facebook group, the BQN Collective, BQN Podcasts on Bluesky, or our Discord server to continue our discussion there. Links can be found in the show notes.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Here on BQN Podcasts, you will never hear a commercial on one of our shows. And if you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, commercial-free, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can join our Let's Fly reaction show, script readings, and other perks. Visit patreon.com/BQN to get all the details and watch your messages.
If becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leaving us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show.
At this time, we would like to thank our very own associate producers, Jim McMahon and Davey Willett, and a special thanks to Mark White for our show artwork. We are so grateful for your support. And to all of our listeners, we send out a heartfelt thanks. Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time, if we're going to be damned, let's be damned for what we really are.
And make now always the most precious time.
Engage.
Hailing frequencies closed.